Good evening, second grade friends. This is Ms. Martinez and Ms. Babb's virtual open house for this year. So we'll be telling you a little bit about ourselves and then a few things about our school day.
All right, let's get started. I'm going to be clicking the slides, so let's go.
So I'm Ms. Martinez. I'm your child's math and social living teacher. I've been teaching for 24 years. 16 of my years have been here at Lake. I'm the proud parent of a senior at Nichols in college, and then the proud parent of a senior at Santa Monica High, finishing up their last years at those universities and high schools. And I love to fish and enjoy being outside in nature and doing things with nature.
And I'm Miss Babb. I'm your student's ELA teacher. This is my third year teaching, but my first here at Lake. I'm loving it here so far. Everybody's very welcoming. I'm originally from the Destrehan area, but I moved to Denham Springs recently. I love reading, kayaking, being with my family and my pets. I love the outdoors, just like Miss Martinez. I love plants. I have them all in my classroom, and the kids love them too. So we'll keep going. All right, so these are our classroom rules. Really, we want students to follow the school-wide PBIS rules in their conduct booklets, so always refer to those if you have any questions. Students should write their own A, otherwise teachers will make notes and marks on the grades. So if they didn't follow expectations or rules from that day, we will mark it. If not, they get an A, so they will mark it. If they earn Lion Loot, it is in their pencil pouches, and they can count that up to see how much they'll get. And really, we just want them to follow directions quickly, raise hands to speak, and to leave their seat, and always make smart choices and work hard. Whenever you look in their conduct books, the conduct marks will be in little boxes. Ms. Martinez will be first because math comes first in the boxes, and it'll have a little number symbol. And then the ELA box is right underneath, and that is my box. So they would have gotten that mark from me.
Their conduct grades do also accumulate during the day if they receive a mark. So if they would happen to receive one from Ms. Martinez, their grade would not be recorded till the end of the evening once they've been to their ELA class. So it's an accumulation. It's not a separate grade for each. And we do spend our Lion Loot every 2 weeks. They get a chance to turn it in for certain, items to purchase or ways to dress down their outfits.
All right. Go ahead.
So supplies needed. Main supplies that we use in our classrooms are their binder. Their binder holds their newsletter and their conduct book in the beginning of it. We have a pocket for notes and money, which is things we need to transfer back and forth from the parents to ourselves. We have homeworks, and this year we did 2 separate homework pockets. So we have one for Ms. Babb ELA and one for math. In my math pocket, I do also put social living items like study guides that need to be studied at home too. And then we do have an ELA math and social living do not take out pocket. We use those to keep papers that we're working on throughout class. And then we do have a keep at home pocket. Please do work on emptying that pocket nightly to make sure that they have room for the next day. Some of our most famous supplies needed right now are having the children have a mask, and we do ask that you do put another mask in their school bag in case it breaks or rips or even gets wet. We have a pencil box or a crayon box that holds their markers and crayons, and we want to make sure that's large enough to fit markers, crayons, scissors, and glue for daily use. And we do also need headphones. We've started using their computers with them. So either if they could have headphones or earbuds, that would be wonderful. If they don't have those, please do send those to school real soon. That way, when they're working on a program, they can hear, the program itself and not allow everyone else to hear what they're doing at that time.
I wanted to add something onto the binders. I'm noticing in the ELA pocket that kids are using right now that do not take out. We have some friends that are taking things out at home. And the reason it says don't take out is so that we can use those for school. So just make sure that your student's not taking those things out at home, because we do want to keep them here at school so they're not losing them and need new materials. All right.
So this is my daily schedule of math and social living class. If you would like it blown up or to see it a little bit better, please let us know. We can email you a schedule. In math and social living, basically we start off with math and then we end in our social living section. We do have a large break in both of our classes for lunch and enrichment, which is 11:30 to 1. So if you do need to do any appointments where you need to check them out of school, that would be a great time between that 11:30 and 1 o'clock slot to sign them out. And then if they're able to come back, to school after their appointment for one, that would be great to get to one of our end of, the day classes. The same thing for my second block. When I receive the second group, we begin with math and then start with social and then end with social living.
And my schedule is next. It looks just like Miss Martinez, but except for ELA learning in there. We teach CKLA skills first, then we have a little recess, then we'll do guidebooks, and then eventually once we start doing reading, guided reading as well. And then like she said, we've got that huge gap in the middle of the day, then we'll switch and the second class will do the same thing too. So we have the exact same schedule, just teaching different things.
For our curriculums, we have 3 different curriculums for math and social living. We have Eureka Math. We use studies weekly when we're doing social living and social studies, and incorporate a few outside resources. So when they do begin a new studies weekly unit, we do switch out a new magazine. And then for science, we use the Amplify Science curriculum. For the math, we do have 3 books. They are all green, but Ms. Martinez calls one a blue book, a yellow book, and a red book because of the tab on the side of it. The first blue book is their problem set, their exit ticket book, their application problem. They keep that at their cubbies in their desks, as well as the yellow book. The yellow book's a sprint book that we time them for fluency. And then the last book was sent home, which is called a Succeed book. That's their homework book. There's a pretty cool homework helper in front of every lesson. It shows you exactly what was expected from them when they were doing the problem in class that day. And the red books will rotate home. This one's module 1 to 3. So when we start module 4, they'll get a new homework book once they run out of pages. And we'll talk a little bit about math homework later. And our next slide just kind of shows you the 4 main topics of math. We are doing operations and algebraic thinking, number and operations in base 10, measurement and data and geometry. That's our 4 concepts to teach throughout the year in math. And then we use the studies weekly, again, magazine, when we start a new unit of social living. So right now we're in map skills, and then we'll finish up map skills in a few weeks or by next week to move on to science. We do use these articles, we highlight, we annotate in them, and we use them for testing purposes. So please make sure their Studies Weekly magazine always stays in their social living pocket. And then for science, we have 3 cool units. We work on plant and animal relationships, properties and materials, and change in landforms. When we do get to science in about 2 weeks, they are going to keep all their science materials at school. It's in a nice binded book, so they won't be taking that home. Science has done a lot of in-class activity, and they record notes. So when they take their tests, at times it's kind of hard to study. We will send study guides home every now and then, but it's a lot of class participation, working with the concept that we're learning. So it's a lot of in-class work compared to social living.
Alrighty, so for ELA, we do have 2 sort of curriculums. We have our CKLA skills and our ELA guidebooks. In CKLA skills, and then we'll also be doing guided reading and writing as well. So that's why I put those at the bottom. In CKLA skills, you will have 6 units throughout the year. The purpose is to make every student a reader. It teaches students about grammar, writing, reading, spelling, all across all units, and really helps them build those foundational skills for reading. And that's why it's called skills. And each unit does teach a different skill, so they're never really same all across the board, even though it does reference previous skills from the past. In ELA guidebooks, we have 5 units throughout the year. It's created to help all students read, understand, and teach them how to show their understanding, excuse me, of second grade texts in many different ways, learning parts of a story, parts of a book, different types of stories, and again, in order to build those foundational skills for reading. Like I mentioned before, we do have guided reading and writing. Guided reading is just a time where we are going to be working together and reading in groups in order for me to help students and support them in ways they might need for their reading skills. And also writing as well. And that's really kind of self-explanatory. They are graded on their writing and learn how to become better writers, all here in ELA this year. All right.
For our next slide, we have our newsletter. So our newsletter should always be in the front outside pocket of their binder. We do send it home every Monday. It's got very important information on it. We put the test days in each subject area. Those are sometimes tentative. We may push a test a day back if necessary. See, we also have spelling, high frequency words to practice. We have a notes box where we update you about any special events. We haven't had many, or any for August. So when things start happening at school that kids need to be aware of, we'll put that in our notes box. And then we have our homework box. So reading, they use a fluency passage normally, where they send it home on Monday, have the kids practice it, and return it on Friday. For math, we have little fluency quizzes. So it'll tell you what fact we're working. Like this week, we're working on +0 facts. Last week, we worked on the Friends of 10. And the quizzes are every Friday. They are timed for 2 minutes on those quizzes to see how many problems they can do in 2 minutes. Normally, it's out of 40 problems. And then we do have our homework box at the bottom for math. So Ms. Martinez doesn't want them doing all the problems. They can definitely do them all if they want, but I try to pick out the problems that focus the most and that are a great review of the lesson we learned and identify those problems. I do abbreviate a lot, so we'll put less for lesson. PBIS means what problems we'd like them to do. And then we'll sometimes put an additional thing if they need to refer to the back of the paper. And then sometimes, dependent, if we don't have a specified problem homework page, we'll send a teacher a worksheet home. And again, all those worksheets for homework should be found in that red workbook that should be at home, unless it's a teacher-made worksheet. And for grades, both of the Ms. Babb and I's grade requirements are the same. We both need 7 grades, but we do a little different. For math, we have 6 teacher-made tests or benchmarks that we use for a grade, and then we have that one fact fluency quiz, which is a cumulative average. So some 9 weeks we're able to give 5, 6, 7 quizzes, and we'll tie that into one fluency average. Sorry, my lights went off. And then for social living, we rotate social studies and science. So we'll do a few weeks of social studies, then move on to science. So some 9 weeks we'll have 4 social living, social studies grades, and then 3 science, and that might be a little vice versa. Again, a lot of science is worksheet work samples that's been, performed in the class.
Okay, so for ELA, students will get 3 separate grades for reading, writing, and spelling. And you'll see those in PowerSchool too. So anytime they have a writing assessment, students would have been given a rubric and we'll grade them using that rubric. Reading will likely be just doing guidebooks and me grading them based on what they can comprehend and answering questions. And spelling is going to be weekly spelling tests, which are every Friday. Our first one is coming up soon too. So they will need to read those spelling words that are on the newsletter in order to prepare and practice writing them down so that they can get good grades on the spelling tests. Also in the next box, it says homework will also be taken for a grade in ELA. We'll take homework quizzes on Fridays after students turn in their homework. So the fluency sheet that they get that says Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, how often they read, how long they read, words that they got wrong. They're going to use that same passage to take a quiz on Friday to see if they comprehended what they read for homework over the past few days. And they've read it a few times, so they should do really, really well. But homework is also included in our grade as well.
And just one quick little reminder about the math fact fluency. Sometimes you may need to make flashcards at home. We do practice those facts orally during the week. Like this week, 0 plus 5 is 5 plus 0 is, and we'll review those back and forth. But some kids could use that old school flashcard practice. So we'll put the skill listed on the newsletter and just kind of quiz them as much as you can Monday through Thursday on those facts. And as always, on the top of our newsletter, we do have our email addresses every week. It's our first last name at apsb.org. We want to thank you for the many parents who have joined our Remind group, because we can send quick messages really quickly to that group, just whole class, or if you need to notify us about something. Sometimes Remind doesn't work so clearly for us in the classroom. So if it's like a bus change or an important reminder that you need, try to email us too, because sometimes the Wi-Fi just doesn't pick up with Remind, and we can get our emails checked a lot quicker, especially during our breaks. But we'll try to send a lot of whole group reminders home, through Remind as well.
Absolutely. And usually if it's kind of any time after 2:30, since we're in the middle of teaching, it might be hard to get in contact with us. So if it's an emergency or you found out last minute, there's a transportation change that needs to happen, I would just call the office, because they could just buzz into our rooms and say, hey, so-and-so's going home this way today, and we can make it happen. So it's really easier to get in contact at the end of the day that way.
Well, we want to thank you both. Thank you all for allowing us to teach your kids this year. We're super excited about having them in our classes. We hope to get to meet you all one day in person too. We'll be having conference day in October, and we'll definitely keep you updated, what the requirements will be for that. But if there's anything either one of us can help you with, we work together really well, and we'd like to hear from you. So just let us know.
Absolutely. Feel free to reach out anytime. Thanks so much, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.